Welcome to Cappuccino and Croissant, your weekly dose of pop culture, sharp analysis, and cultural caffeine. Today, we're diving into the event that just shook the music industry, the 2025 Grammy Awards, a ceremony that's always highly anticipated, but let's be honest, is just as much about industry politics as it is about celebrating music. Who took home the biggest awards? Who got completely snubbed? And which moments define the night, for better or worse? But you know me, I don't just skim the surface. So we're also pulling back the curtain on what the Grammys don't show you. Because behind the glittering speeches and emotional thank yous lies a well oiled machine where everything is calculated, from the winners chosen in backroom, deals to the spontaneous moments on stage. And to wrap up this episode in style, I'm taking you inside the world of my new books, Red Flags and Love Songs, a high stakes mix of forbidden romance, psychological tension, and an ultra realistic deep dive into the K pop industry. This isn't just a love story. It's a game of survival where one wrong move could end careers. So grab your favorite drink, mine's black coffee, as always, and let's get into it. The Grammy Awards are basically the Super Bowl of music, just with more glitter and, thankfully, fewer concussions. And once again, this year's ceremony delivered a mix of triumphs, jaw-dropping performances, and, of course, a little dose of drama. So, who took home the gold and who walked away empty handed? Let's break it down. Let's be honest, Beyonce and the Grammys have always had a complicated relationship. She's collected more trophies than anyone else in history, yet somehow she had never won Album of the Year. Well, that finally changed in 2025. Queen Bee took home the top prize with Cowboy Carter, marking a historic moment for both her career and the country music industry. This album was a bold fusion of country and R&B, an artistic risk that paid off big time. And with this win, Beyonce became the first Black woman to win Album of the Year since Lauryn Hill in 1999. Needless to say, Nashville is still recovering. Her acceptance speech, simple yet powerful. She paid tribute to the Black artists who laid the foundation for country music long before the industry took notice. It was a moment that set the internet on fire, or should I say, X, because we apparently don't call it Twitter anymore. On one side, critics argued that Cowboy Carter wasn't country enough to deserve the win. On the other, the Bayhive went into full celebration mode, reminding everyone that if anyone deserves this milestone, it's her. Oh, and as if that wasn't enough, her duet with Miley Cyrus, Second Most Wanted, also took home a Grammy. No doubt about it, Beyonce owned this year's ceremony. While Beyonce made history, Kendrick Lamar wiped out the competition. He won Song of the Year and Record of the Year for Not Like Us, which is a huge statement considering the song is actually a diss track aimed at Drake. Yep, because if you missed it, 2024 was the year of the Kendrick versus Drake rap war, a lyrical Cold War that had the entire industry on edge. Seeing Not Like Us take home two of the biggest awards of the night. Absolutely legendary. The crowd erupted when his name was announced, but it was his speech that really made waves. Kendrick called out how rap has been historically undervalued at the Grammys, a conversation that resurfaces every year. But this time, his victory made it feel even more significant. The energy in the room was electric, right up until the producers subtly cut his mic after a quick jab at the industry. No full I'ma let you finish Kanye moment, but still, one for the history books. 2025 was the year that cemented a new wave of pop stars. First up, Sabrina Carpenter, who won Best Pop Vocal Album for Short and Sweet. Her 2024 was already massive thanks to Espresso, but this Grammy, it officially launched her into pop superstardom. She's no longer just Joshua Bassett's ex. She's a powerhouse in her own right. Then there's Chappell Roan, who walked away with Best New Artist. With her flamboyant, theatrical style, a mix between Lady Gaga and underground cabaret, she's unlike anyone else in mainstream pop right now. Her over-the-top performances and raw vocals have captivated audiences, and this Grammy just cemented her as a force to be reckoned with. A Grammy night without legendary performances is like coffee without caffeine, pointless, and this year, a few acts set the bar sky high. Billie Eilish delivered an intimate and haunting rendition of Birds of a Feather, proving once again that she can captivate an entire audience with nothing but a mic and a guitar. Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga joined forces for a heartfelt tribute to Los Angeles performing California Dreamin'. The moment was so breathtaking that the audience gave them a standing ovation before they even finished. Of course, no Grammy night is complete without some chaos. Kanye West tried to crash the ceremony. Again. Uninvited? Naturally. Security had to escort him out after he attempted to enter the venue because apparently he still believes he runs the show. Jaden Smith hit the red carpet wearing a hat shaped like a literal castle. No one knows why. No one dares to ask. The 67th Grammy Awards had it all. Historic wins, unforgettable performances, and just the right amount of controversy. Beyonce finally got her crown. Kendrick Lamar turned a diss track into a Grammy-winning anthem, and pop music found its next generation of superstars. But beyond the awards and the spectacle, this year's ceremony also told us a lot about where the music industry is headed. Because behind the glitz and glamour, there's a constant power struggle and ever-changing landscapes, and artists who are redefining what it means to make music in 2025. And that's what really makes the Grammys worth talking about. The Grammy Awards, grand spectacle of the music industry. Every year we watch, we cheer, we get mesmerized by perfectly curated performances, and we argue about who deserved to win. But let's be real, it's all an elaborate script. Behind the glitter and the teary acceptance speeches, it's a business. Not just any business, but a machine designed to rewrite music history according to criteria that often have little to do with actual artistry. So, who really decides the winners? Why do some performances feel as natural as a corporate PowerPoint presentation? And most importantly, in 2025, does winning a Grammy even mean anything anymore? You might think the Grammys reflect popular opinion, that artists win because they dominated the charts, sold out stadiums, or made an undeniable cultural impact. Think again. The Grammy winners are chosen by an internal vote, not by fans, not by critics, but by the Recording Academy, an exclusive members-only club that operates like a gatekeeping fortress. And who are the voters? Industry professionals, sure, but with an average age closer to a retirement board than a TikTok trend. Most of them are connected to major labels, which means their decisions are anything but spontaneous. An artist can have rave reviews, record-breaking streams, and a fan base that worships them. But if their label doesn't play the political game behind closed doors, they might leave the Grammys completely empty-handed. And 2025. Still the same old story. Some shocking snubs, same old story. Some shocking snubs, some wins that feel suspiciously strategic, and once again, we all pretend to be surprised. Another recurring issue, the Grammys' never-ending struggle with rap and black music. How many genre-defining rap albums have been sidelined in favor of safer, more marketable choices? Sure, Kendrick Lamar got his moment this year, but how many hip-hop artists were completely ignored by the Academy? And then there's the category problem. Rap is still pushed into its own little corner, while pop and rock dominate the prestigious awards. Why is hip-hop, the most globally influential genre, still treated as an outsider? Still believe in the magic of unscripted moments at the Grammys? Forget it. Every performance, every unexpected interaction, every viral moment is meticulously planned. The Grammys aren't a music festival, they're a high-budget TV production. Everything is designed to generate buzz, create hashtags, and boost streaming numbers. Those random artist duets that seem totally out of nowhere, almost never real artistic collaborations. Most of them are strategic business moves orchestrated by labels trying to expand their audience reach. Example 2025. This year was no different. Some of the most hyped duets felt like they were brainstormed in a conference room rather than a studio. Zero chemistry, maximum marketing potential, and let's talk about those one shocking performance per year. There's always one that's designed to steal the night. But more often than not, it feels like a PR stunt rather than a true artistic statement. Here's a trick to tell if a performance is genuine or just corporate theater. Follow the sponsors. If an artist's act is too controversial, too raw, too unpredictable, there's always a reminder from the brands bankrolling the show. The Grammys are a business first and awards show second. A Grammy win can boost an artist's sales by up to 500%. In one night, it can go from rising star to global cash cow, but not always for the right reasons. The Recording Academy knows nostalgia and drama sell. That's why we keep seeing forced revivals of artists whose moment has long passed, dragged back onto the stage to sell a comeback album. Artists winning a Grammy conveniently announcing a new album or tour right after. Almost like everything was timed perfectly. Justice wins. Grammys awarded years too late, as if that somehow corrects past snubs. It's not about celebrating art. It's about damage control. Here's the biggest question. Does a Grammy still mean anything in 2025? Some of the biggest, most culturally relevant artists don't even get nominated anymore. The music industry has changed, and the Grammys are no longer the absolute standard of success. An artist can dominate streaming, shape global music trends, and sell out stadiums, all without ever touching a Grammy. Because today, winning the public matters more than winning an Academy vote. So yes, the Grammys are prestigious, but they're also a well-oiled business operation. We're sold a celebration of music, but underneath, it's a perfectly calculated marketing strategy. And speaking of influence, there's another interesting discussion to have. How music itself shapes our emotions, our relationships, and our perception of love. And that brings us to our next segment. Music is supposed to be an emotional escape. Something that makes us dream, feel, and vibrate, or completely delude ourselves. Because let's be honest, if we actually listened to the lyrics of some of our favorite love songs, we'd realize that a good chunk of them are basically toxic relationship manuals. Why do we keep singing along to gaslighting anthems and obsessive love songs like they're romantic? Why does a phrase that would make us run for the hills in real life suddenly sound acceptable when set to a catchy beat? That's exactly what we're going to unpack. Let's take a moment to analyze the great romantic ballads that have been fed to us for decades. The majority of the so-called love anthems we associate with passion and devotion, they're actually blueprints for dysfunctional relationships. A guy spying on you without your knowledge? Romantic in a song, restraining order in real life. A girl emotionally manipulating her ex into coming back? Pop icon on stage, red flag queen IRL. The problem? We've been absorbing these narratives since forever. Music has taught us to idealize difficult love, love that hurts, and sometimes love that isn't even love at all. Music has a strange power over us. A beautiful melody can completely mask the meaning of a messed up lyric. Think about it. If someone actually told you, I love you, but I hate you, and I'm going to manipulate you, you'd block their number in seconds. But if they sing it with the right beat, we put it on repeat. Why do people defend problematic lyrics when they would never tolerate that behavior in real life? Because the music softens the impact. Neuroscience has proven that music triggers the brain's reward system, making us feel good even when the lyrics are waving more red flags than a matador in a bullfight. A guy saying, you belong to me in a threatening tone? Immediate red flag. A guy singing you belong to me with a soft voice over a dreamy instrumental? We swoon. Every year, new songs dominate the charts, selling us the same toxic narratives in a fresh package. Take any song everyone loves, all over TikTok. But let's actually look at the lyrics. Without the music, it's basically a guy justifying his extreme jealousy with, I only act this way because I love you too much. And yet, we sing it with a smile. Let's play a game. Imagine a world with no music, take some of the biggest love songs and read the lyrics out loud, like a normal conversation. Would they still sound romantic, or would they sound like a psychological thriller? If you leave me, I'll disappear, because without you, I'm nothing. I'll be watching you every step you take. I'll love you forever, whether you want me to or not. Terrifying, right? Right? But add a catchy hook, and suddenly it's a wedding song. Yes, music is powerful, but sometimes it's also the biggest lie we believe. We romanticize things that, in real life, should be setting off every alarm bell in our heads. So now, I'm curious, what's your ultimate red flag song? The one you love despite knowing it's a total relationship disaster in 3 minutes flat. Let me know on Instagram and TikTok, and let's talk about it. Forbidden love stories, we've seen them 1,000 times. But between the cliches and the brutal reality of an industry like K-pop, there's a huge gap, one that I wanted to explore with red flags and love songs. This novel is a blend of romance, a psychological tension, and full-on immersion into the ultra-controlled world of the Korean music industry. It's not just a simple love story between a French production assistant and a K-pop idol. It's a race against time, a high-stakes game where every decision could shatter a career, where every glance exchange turns into a risk. Jaemin, the leader of EC Ellipse Exchange, turns into a risk. Jaemin, the leader of EC Ellipse, is not your typical untouchable bad boy. He's a strategist, a perfectionist, a man carrying the weight of an entire group, a label, an image so precisely crafted it leaves no room for mistakes. And when creating him, I drew inspiration from several real-life industry leaders, including Bang Chan from Stray Kids. Not in a way that copies him, but because this kind of figure has always fascinated me. Artists who handle everything, who are expected to be flawless at every second, who are not even allowed to fail. And then there's Sasha. She's not here to chase glittering dreams or fall for a rock star fantasy. She's pragmatic, sharp-witted, sarcastic, and she knows her job leaves no space for emotions. But when you put two people this opposite in the same space, under strict rules, relentless pressure, and the unblinking gaze of millions, cracks start to show. And that's when everything spirals. Because Red Flags and Love Songs isn't just a love story. It's a ticking time bomb, an emotional thriller where every wrong move could be fatal. And to pull you even deeper into this tension, here's an excerpt. I never quite understood the hype around K-pop. Waiting in line for hours, buying the same album 10 times just to admire a different cover, or screaming an idol's name into the night for someone who doesn't even know you, it always struck me as utterly absurd. So, imagine my surprise when Elodie called to offer me a job on the production team for a wildly popular Korean group called Eclipse. We need someone reliable, someone who can handle the pressure, she explained, her voice trembling with excitement. I, unfazed, replied, reliable? As long as you hook me up with decent coffee and I don't end up in a madhouse, I'm in. A few days later, the official email arrived. Impossible schedules, a slew of confidentiality clauses, and to top it off, a strict ban on flirting with the idols. Signing a 15-page contract in both French and English felt as absurd as it was decisive. On D-Day, I found myself in a modest Parisian office, dossier in hand and armed with my signature sarcasm, ready to sign a contract that promised to boost my career. But nothing had prepared me for the opulence awaiting me that very evening. Dressed to impress, pristine black jeans, a freshly pressed white shirt, and a perfectly tailored blazer, I stepped into the lobby of a chic hotel near Place Vendôme. There, I met Kang Ji-hoon, the main manager of Eclipsis. His piercing gaze and curt pleasure in cool, clipped English made me immediately question whether I was ready to navigate a world where every second counts. He informed me that I would be in charge of on-site logistics, a task with zero room for error. In the mirrored elevator, I couldn't help but wonder if I was truly prepared to dive into this new universe where precision meets glamour. Despite my doubts and biting sarcasm, deep down I knew this was the opportunity of a lifetime, a European adventure on the back of K-pop, blending organized chaos, calculated perfection, and, of course, lots of coffee. And that's a wrap for this episode of Cappuccino and Croissant. Once again, the Grammy Awards have proven that between major wins, marketing strategies, and well-timed controversies, music isn't just played on stage, it's orchestrated behind the scenes. We've talked about the artists who dominated the night, the ones who got snubbed, and most importantly, what these awards reveal about the music industry in 25. Because behind every trophy, there's always more than just a simple thank you to my fans. We also explored how music shapes our perception of love, and why we keep singing red flags on repeat as if they were the ultimate romantic declarations. Let me know your ultimate red flag song on Instagram or TikTok. I want to hear which ones make you feel guilty or not at all. Before we get going, a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe on your favorite streaming platform and leave a rating and review. It helps the podcast get discovered and allows me to keep serving up these highly caffeinated takes. Join me on Instagram and TikTok at Cap Croissant Media for even more pop culture content, behind-the-scenes glimpses into my writing, and deep dives into the music and film industries. And if you want to check out the official Cappuccino and Croissant shop or browse my books, including Red Flags and Love Songs, head over to capcroissantmedia.com. Thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. Stay hydrated with coffee, obviously. And I'll see you soon for another episode of Cappuccino and Croissant. See you next time. Take care.